What's up, everybody? Aslan here. Wake Up War Chant presented by Zaxby's coming up momentarily. Just wanted to go ahead and get this out the way first. Had some technical problems on Sunday while recording the interview with Michael Langston, who helped us wrap up the Saturday Night Live recruiting event. Cliff notes, there were 3 commitments, 2 on the offensive line, 1 on the defensive line. All of them are 3 stars, but good 3 stars. Positions of need, etc., etc. Lots of good momentum. You can read more about it on warchant.com. But several times in the podcast, Corey and I mentioned that we'll have Michael coming up later in the program. But just let you all know, Michael will not be on the program. My bad. Static, crackling noises. It would have driven you all crazy. So we won't run that in this show. But what I will do is at some point later today, I will catch up with Michael. We'll record a wrap up, and then I will go ahead and publish it right here on the podcast, so it'll be delivered to your phone or whatever you use to listen to the show. Without further ado, let's go.
From Tally to Cali,
it's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up! WarChant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up War Chant, presented by Zaxby's.
Now here's WarChant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! What up, everybody? It is Wake Up War Chant, presented by Zaxby's. I'm Aslan. Corey's here. This is like the final week before football season really starts. And because that is the case, we had to go to the bullpen. I'm just kidding. He's always been around. I just told Corey to take some time off. He deserves it. He's been pounding away columns while I've been sitting here talking to you guys and pitching interviews from ACC Kickoff. He's back. He's back, everybody. Corey's here. Hi, Corey.
Hey, Aslan, how are you, buddy? Dude. I wouldn't say that I've been pounding away at columns. I don't even know if I have that muscle anymore to write. It's been so long. Probably gonna have to get back on the horse here soon, though, since, like you said, football's starting up in, the end of this week, right?
Well, we don't know. I mean, can we?
Okay, yeah, I guess we don't know officially when this. Maybe they won't practice. Maybe we'll just see everybody in Jacksonville.
Oh man, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome.
Sure, so switch it up. Start in the middle of August.
Hey, speaking of switching it up, you are a professed Zalad guy when it comes to going to Zaxby's. You're a Cobb Zalad guy, right?
Indeed. Grilled. I go with the grilled chicken normally, right. But yeah, the Zalad's where it's at.
And you keep telling me, Aslan, trying new things, and I'm trying to embrace it. And I think we're going to have to do this. And I miss you, Corey, so I hope you come down to Tallahassee soon because we need to go check out the new Zenzations. Zenzations. You get it? Like it's with the Z?
I do, with the Z. Yeah, and let's hear about it. Let's hear about it.
When you think of Zen, what do you think of? Like, Eastern
Phil
Asian
Jackson.
Stuff like that.
I think of Phil Jackson.
Yeah, exactly. Phil Jackson. Zaxby's. Match made in heaven. So they have what they call now the Zenzation salad. It's the chicken fingers, man. Those hand-breaded chicken fingers that are just so fantastic. Chopped mixed greens, red cabbage, carrots, crispy wonton strips, and then they put a little bit of Asian slaw, and then they drizzle honey sesame teriyaki. And if that's not enough, Corey, they also give you a vegetable egg roll on the side, as well as some citrus vinaigrette dressing. So that's pretty much dinner.
That does sound tasty.
You know what would be better?
You know what that does, Aslan? It sounds sensational.
Oh, yeah. I don't even have a follow-up to that. That was so good.
That does sound good, though, man. I'm going to try that out.
Well, while you try that out, I'm going to have the sandwich, which is basically everything I just described, smothered on the bottom with a piece of Texas toast and then another piece of Texas toast on the top. That's what a sandwich is. But all that goodness, the fingers, hand-breaded, the Zalad, I mean, everything, the crunchy slaw, the wonton strips. When are you coming to Tallahassee? I want this now.
Dude, I am on my way. Not as we speak because I'm here at my house, but as most people will listen to this, I'll be on my way back to Tallahassee.
Okay.
I'm going to be there Monday evening.
All right.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we've seen you, man. I miss you.
I know, man. It's been a while since I've been in Tallahassee, but I'm going to be down there for a couple weeks.
Okay.
So you'll get to see a lot of me. Probably too much, I think, by the end of it.
Hey, are you okay? I heard a rumor that you might be on the IL.
Man, yes, I am okay. I suffered a bit of an injury. I'm not going to tell you how it happened. It's too embarrassing.
Okay.
Although you probably already know.
I
But
don't.
I'm not going to tell the listener
But it's fine.
how it happened. I'll tell you off the air.
Okay.
But yeah, took a hard fall doing something active. Don't keep your minds out of the gutters, folks. What? I'm not that old to hurt myself. But anyway, but just playing with my kids. Let's put it that way. I was playing with my son and his friends, and took a spill, and it really hurt right away to the point that I thought I might have broken a rib or two.
No. Oh no!
Didn't get any better the next day. So Brady was over at a friend's house, and I was like, you know what? I got time. Let me go to the urgent care real quick. Got X-rays and everything, but I'm okay. No broken ribs, no collapsed lung. So we're all good. Just it's really painful to move around.
Did you get up quickly at least and not show weakness in front of Brady? Where you're like, oh, okay, all right, I'm good, I'm fine.
No, I tried to, because usually when you take a spill like that and everybody sees it, you try to shake it off like, oh, I'm all right. And then it hurts a little bit later maybe. But no, it hurt right away, and I had a hard time getting up. And I kept saying the F word over and over again. Not loudly, like, I'm mad, like I'm screaming it, but like, oh, no, I'm really hurt. And apparently that's what I say when I get really hurt. So, yeah, Brady came over. Everybody else was laughing. Brady came over, was very sweet, and put his arm on me and was asking me if I was okay, and told everybody else to quit laughing. But I would have laughed, too, if I had seen it. So I got it. But he was very nice. I did tell him at one point to get away from me, because he was like all over me, to the point which was sweet, but I was in pain and I was trying to like catch my breath. So, but yeah, so it was not a great end to that night. Okay. And I wasn't even drunk. I wasn't even drinking. Just me being old and brittle.
All right, we got to figure out something. Maybe, do we have anybody out there, any listeners that are 6'5" or taller, maybe 300 pounds or more? Maybe we can have you kind of try to accost Corey in public while Brady's there, and then Corey can kind of, bark back, and then you'll step down. Maybe, kind of restore some of the machismo of the Clark brand for Brady. So he's
that would be nice. Yeah, if somebody, and obviously let me win the fight, or actually, man, I don't want to get in a fight in front of my son. I don't want to see him to think that's how conflict is resolved. But to see the old man stick up for himself and you back down a little bit, that would be great. That you're scared of me. Yeah, that's a good point, Aslan. That's a really good idea.
Yeah, reach out to us. Let us know if that's possible. Corey, how was Cleveland? We didn't even get to talk about that, man. We're going to talk about Florida State in a little bit. We're going to talk about our thoughts on practice. Michael Langston will join us here in a little bit to talk about the recruiting weekend and give a wrap on it. But I am interested in how did Cleveland go?
It was cool, man. It was we went and saw the Christmas Story house.
I saw a photo of that on
I didn't even know that was in Cleveland. We were literally driving into Cleveland on Thursday night just to go to dinner, and Stephanie just randomly goes, "Oh, did you see that sign? It said the Christmas Story house." And then she remembered, "Oh yeah, it's right here in Cleveland." So the next day on the way to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which was really cool, by the way, we stopped at the Christmas Story house. Now Brady's never seen the movie, which I wonder how many 11-year-olds have seen A Christmas Story. I mean, that movie's look at it, like, I know it comes on TBS every Christmas, but that's like a 38-year-old movie at this point. That kid that plays Ralphie, I think he's like 62 years old now. But we went there for a bit, and then the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was really cool. I liked that more than I thought. I think I actually liked it more than Canton, because we went to Canton on Saturday, just me and Brady, and I liked that a lot too. But I think the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was even cooler. By the way, I want to throw this out, and then we'll get into sports talk. So Otis Redding, you know who Otis Redding is, Dock of the Bay, sitting on the Dock of the Bay. He had a few hits. From Georgia, great artist. Died when he was 26. We've talked about that, I believe. That you wouldn't have thought he was that young. No, he sounds so soulful and older and wise in his songs. Anyway, so he died in a plane crash on the way to, I guess, a gig in Madison, Wisconsin. And one of the artifacts at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is pieces of the plane. Like, it says Otis Redding. I guess he had his own plane that said Otis Redding on it. And it's an artifact, but isn't that kind of a bit morose?
Yeah. I wouldn't want, like, the pillow, like, in my hospital bed to be on, like, a exhibit. Like,
or what about, like, the toilet that Elvis died on?
Yeah.
I mean, they had a huge Elvis exhibit. They couldn't put the toilet from Graceland, bring that into Cleveland for the artifact. So that was a little odd. But overall, man, I like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame a lot. The only problem with Cleveland, also went to an Indians game. Incredibly hot. Like literally, it was breaking like 40-year-old records how hot it was when we were there.
Yeah.
It was 98, and then the 2 days after we left, it was down to 74 as a high. And I was like, oh, cool. I leave Tallahassee and Atlanta to try to get a respite. Get to Cleveland, and it's 99 degrees. And then as soon as I leave, it gets back down to 77 again. So that was cool. But, yeah, it was a cool time, man. It's a cool time.
No sea breeze coming off Lake Erie? Nothing like that? Like lake effect breeze?
No, there was nothing. And there was also an altercation. Speaking of talking big in front of your son, I got into an altercation with a woman on the street in front of my son. But I'm not going to get into the details of that. Just know, fine folks, I was in the right. She was a crazy person, just straight up screaming at me and made my son cry. So I got pretty angry about that. Or didn't make him cry, made him kind of whimper and get scared because of the way she was yelling. So I was not very calm in my actions back to her. And what I was saying, basically, get back in your car. But yes, so that was a little bizarre. I hope that didn't ruin. But Brady, after that, did say he never wanted to go to Cleveland again. And I told him, hey, buddy, you don't have to worry. We did it. We got it out of our system. I don't think we'll ever be going back to Cleveland again just because we did everything we needed to see. But cool town. Fun town.
Look at that, man. I'm rubbing off on you, Corey, raising your voice and, all the good stuff that I have to offer as a friend. I'm glad.
I can't wait to tell you that story again off the record. It was nuts.
Me as well. All right, man, let's go on the record. Let's talk about Florida State football. We assume, again, we don't know as of the recording of this program, but, I mean, golly, they've got to announce it here in the next day. Literally, I would be shocked if they don't announce it by the end of day Monday, because practice should be starting soon. We're assuming it's going to start on August 2nd, which is Friday, which is nuts. Like, it's August almost. So Florida State will start practice, we're assuming, on Friday, and the 2019 season will then kick off and commence. I mean, I don't really know kind of what direction to lead us in here, Corey, but there's just so many things, obviously, that we'll be talking about in the coming weeks. This is actually going to be our only show of the week, by the way, folks. We're going to kind of, turn the engines off, get back to neutral, and be ready to rock and roll.
Unless we find out they're practicing on Wednesday.
Right, yeah, of course.
And then we'd probably have one on Thursday.
Of course.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, actually, before we get to that, ESPN's on right now. Shout out to Brooks Koepka. Not to gloss over the fact that he's the number one golfer in the world and just an absolute machine right now, but wins the St. Jude Classic out there in Memphis. It's his first World Golf Championship victory. 7 victories for his career now. They're not all majors. He's not Chris Carter. Not all he does is just win majors. I don't know what to really be said about him. He pretty much went heads up against Rory McIlroy and blitzed by him, bogey-free round today. So it's pretty cool, man. And if you check out his website, because I'm like, we need to try to get him on the show. So I found out who his agent is. And on his website, he has all these different tabs. And one of them is, I think it's like About Brooks. And it shows, like, there's all these little thumbnails. It says, back-to-back PGA Championship winner, back-to-back U.S. Open winner. And then there's a couple other thumbnails about, his lifestyle. And then there's one that says Florida State Seminole. And it's a photo of him and his teammates holding the trophy. So he does represent that. Maybe not as much as some people want. They want to see him with, a Renegade Osceola club cover and, a flaming bag and all that kind of stuff. But he's a Knoll. He's a Knoll, folks. Maybe doesn't, pound his chest as much as you would like, but the number one golfer in the world, still doing big things, still a Florida State Seminole. Pretty cool.
So I was thinking about this because he won another tournament. What did he finish? Like, he won a major and then he finished in the top 5 in the 3 other ones.
Yeah, I think it was second and
or 2
fourth.
of the 3. Yeah, and second at the Masters, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So he's right now, you could say for the last 18 months, at least the last 12 months, he is the best golfer in the world.
Correct.
Like nobody, I think he's ranked number 1, right?
Yes, he is.
But he has been through his performance, you could say without a doubt. I don't even know who's number 2, but he is unquestionably the best golfer in the world right now as we speak, and has been for a full calendar year. Has there ever been another Florida State athlete that you could say that about? And I know the first reaction is Deion.
Right.
And Deion was the best cornerback in the world. Mm-hmm. But would you have said in 1994 he was the best football player in the world? Because we're not saying like Brooks Koepka is the best putter or the best driver, or the best guy with a wedge, best short game. He is the best at his sport in the world. He is the best player in his sport. I don't know that Dion was ever the best player. He was the best player at his position.
Right.
But I would have thought Jerry Rice was probably the best player in the world in 1994, 1995, or maybe there's a quarterback you'd want to throw in there. It was never unquestioned that Dion was the best player in the world, or Derek Brooks for that matter. So, and I know football's different. I get all that. Yeah. But that's insane. I mean, it's just remarkable how good he is, man. This is insane. It might, maybe it doesn't last for another year. Maybe it lasts for another 8. But right now, a Florida State guy, a Florida State alum, is the best player in the world in his sport. And I don't know that we can ever say that about another Florida State athlete, unless there's somebody I'm not thinking about.
Yeah,
Cowens, but I don't think Cowens in his time was ever considered the best player on the planet.
He was an MVP though one year, was he not?
Yeah, and Buster Posey won an MVP. So I think Buster played that premium position. So I think, I think Dion won a defensive MVP. I think Derek Brooks did too. But, without a doubt, the best player at his sport in the world, the best golfer in the world is a Florida State guy. I don't know you can ever say that for sure, about any other Florida State athlete.
No,
and again, I'm an all-time Dion fan. I'm not saying Koepka usurps Dion, but holy moly, this is crazy. He's the 5th player ever with a major and a World Golf Championship win in the same season. Yeah. It just the stuff he does every tournament he's in, it's like, okay, man, this guy, he's going to be a Hall of Famer.
It's
anyway,
incredible.
I just thought that was interesting thinking about that, like how he is the best in the world right now.
Yeah. Yeah, to your point, I think there was times where people thought Dion was the best cornerback. I don't even know if Dion was ever thought of as being the best defensive player. I think Derek Brooks that year, like 2002 with the Bucks, I think some people might have said that Derek Brooks was the best defensive player on the planet, not just the best linebacker. But yeah, to that point, again, that's a sort of a specialization on one side of the ball. He wasn't seen as maybe the best football player in the entire world. But yeah, it's an individual sport. It's different, but it's incredible. It's crazy. So it's cool. Brooks Koepka is now tied, as Corey said, is one of only 5 players who have won a major and a World Golf Championship in the same year. He's tied for second with Dustin Johnson, Rory McIlroy, and Jeff Ogilvy. They all have 1. First place is Tiger. You want to guess how many he has?
8.
Boom! Look at that.
I got it on ESPN too.
Fantastic. All right, man.
As well, not ESPN 2, ESPN as well.
Yeah. What you won't see on ESPN, Florida State football right now. There's nothing wrong with that. They're not going to talk about Ohio State football right now. So we'll talk to you about Florida State football 16 and a half minutes into the show. If you're complaining that it took so long, you did not look in the item description, because in the item description we always show at what point in the show we make segues and topic changes, so you can pick out where you want to start the podcast. We always feel you should start at the beginning and run it the whole way through, but sometimes you're on a tight pinch or you just want to hear Michael Langston. We get it. Look in the item description. You'll figure everything out.
Big weekend. A big weekend for Florida State football, right? Seemed like a good vibes around the program after this weekend.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna be the pragmatist here. I'm just going to go ahead and roll with the good vibes and everything. Obviously, that event, you want to walk away with commitments, and the fact they got 3, each single one of them at a position of need, is obviously a big win. Sounds like Florida did not have nearly the success during their recruiting showcase on Friday. So any victory is a big victory for Florida State at this point, but that, to call it a small victory, would probably be to undersell it. I'm not going to say it's like a program changer what they did on Saturday and Sunday, but it's definitely a good start to get this 2020 class sort of wrapped up. The dead period is going to start. Michael Langston will talk more about that. Potential good news on the horizon beyond just what happened this past weekend. But football season, the team, that's what we're on the payroll for, to talk about the team. And there's a lot of players out there helping out at the Saturday Night Live. Asante Samuel was out there. Saw Amari Gaynor out there. Keyshawn Helton was out there. Cam Akers was out there. Saw our guy James Blackman out there. And it's the one thing that I feel weird talking about. Maybe weird's not the right word, Corey, but just I have this weird sort of affinity for James Blackman just because of what he went through in 2017. I've mentioned this so many times. I hate to keep bringing it up, but if you're just joining us on the program, if you're a new member of the Wake Up War Chant family, rate and subscribe and all that sort of stuff to the podcast. But I felt like he played pretty valiantly in the sort of situation that he was thrust into in 2017. Now, at no point did I think, all right, Florida State's going to be in great hands. We have the next, the big thing at that position in James Blackman. But you're just like, dang, for this kid being undersized and straight out of high school and having to be thrust into the job for the number 3 team in the nation, he came on kind of all right towards the end of the season. I thought he played well in spurts against NC State. I thought he played well in spurts against Louisville, Miami. These obviously were games they lost, so what does it really all eventually mean? I don't want to put too much expectation on him because then I know people are just going to totally eviscerate him. Not to give myself credit for that or anything, but I just know what fans are like when quarterbacks struggle, just all the blame goes on them and they're called the bum and, we should have seen this coming, et cetera, et cetera. Like, how much of the optimism pie, Corey? I mean, a large part of it obviously is Kendall, I think, and Randy Clements, but how much of it is just the fact that, like, James Blackman, I guess it's presumptuous because Alex Hornibrook's here to battle for the job. But I just saw James Blackman talking to Mickey for literally like 5 minutes on the sideline at Saturday Night Live. Like, they were just sitting there for 5 minutes. They were like eye to eye, just talking about ball. It seems like. I mean, they weren't laughing or cutting up. It seemed like there was a sort of communication going on that I don't think I would have seen from anybody that was on the roster the last 3 years at quarterback besides James. Just how much. I don't know. Just how much of a linchpin is he for the success of this team, or is it still just all about the offensive line and Kendall calling plays?
I mean, I just think that goes only so far, but trust me, I think it helps when you have a kid like that. Cliche. I don't care if it's a cliche. He's a Seminole, true quote unquote Seminole. He lives and breathes and dies with this program. I really do believe that. And he seems like a great kid. And a good leader. But if he's 12 out of 28 with a couple picks, none of that's going to matter. He's got to make plays and he's got to be good. Everything being equal, that's a big deal. And I think that says something about him. None of us question what kind of kid he is. At least I don't think we do. We're all kind of like, we all have man crushes on the dude. He just seems like a great kid and a great guy and a great leader and a guy you'd want to be on the team with, unless he's out there not playing well, which is just how it is with everyone. So I think it only goes a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to be thinking about that scene against Mickey if it's the third quarter and they're losing to Boise State 13-3. None of that will matter. And none of that will matter. But I do think it says what this program means to him. That this isn't a shot at all. But I don't know how many kids on the team, if he hadn't have been a part of the program a little bit last year, would even know who Mickey Andrews is. I mean, he last coached a decade ago, like when he was on the staff, when he was the Mickey Andrews. But obviously, he means something to James Blackman for him to go over there and talk to him like that. And they had a good conversation, and Mickey loves this program, and he's talking to another dude that he knows loves this program. That means something. How much? Not a ton. You know that. We all know that. But again, to me, it's somebody to root for. That's what that is. This quarterback is a guy to root for. 12 out of 28, a couple picks. I get it. We don't just play favorites because we like the kid. But he is somebody to root for, and I would hope any real Florida State fan would truly and openly be rooting for this guy to not just win the job, but to be really good. And not be, you know what I mean by that? Because some fans, and we've talked about this before, will want him to fail just so they can say, I told you so.
Right. I
told you wasn't any good. I told you guys were building him up for 8 months for nothing. Blah, 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 blah. Just hope the guy's good. Hope he's as good a football player as we think he is a person.
I understand what you're saying there, and I do think it's right that obviously for a lot of people being right's more important than seeing the team win. I think they want both to happen.
Not a lot of people.
Yeah, but it's a very small part. Very, very small.
It's a small portion of people, but they're very loud.
Yeah. I just wonder where the skepticism is. I mean, I wonder, is it because he fumbled against Louisville? Is it because he did look so bad in Boston, but who didn't look bad in Boston? Or is it just the belief that there's a reason why he never was able to take the job away from DeAndre last year. Just I do my only reason why I'm skeptical about it, or not skeptical, but I'm just kind of cautiously optimistic about it. And I don't want to put too much expectation on hope on him, is because I do realize that I don't think part of his game is going out there and being 27 of 32 in a game. Like, he's not going to – I don't think he's ever going to do a Jameis-esque against Pitt sort of game. I do ultimately think that this kid has learned enough and is, the last time we saw him, put together a pretty good performance that I just don't know why anybody would get hung up on Boston College or the first half of the Miami game when you saw the way he finished against Miami, you saw the way he finished 2017, and you saw the way he played in the lone game in 2018. And Willie, just for whatever reason, wanted to hold on to that red shirt. Now, was that pressure from the Blackman family? If he wasn't going to start at some point, then we'll just go ahead and take the red shirt. And that's, open to your interpretation at home if that's the way you see these things. But I just do wonder why there isn't more enthusiasm around him. Jameis, he is not. But, man, James Blackman he's put on the weight. He's 6'5". He has a great arm. He has all the intangible stuff you want. And I think that he will be much more apt to embracing just the run game and his role in it. And that, to me, I think will be a big enough sort of a pushover to get him being an improvement over what Florida State had at quarterback last season. It's crazy to me that people aren't wanting to buy into what he can be. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. I mean, and I think there's a chance. And again, I don't know every quarterback that's coming back, but I do think there's a chance he'll be the second or third best quarterback in the conference. Obviously, the guy in South Carolina, the long-haired hippie freak, he's the best. That kid's awesome. But James Blackman's proven almost as much as anybody else in the conference, in my opinion. Because you're right, he did have some nice moments as a freshman. He had some really bad moments as a freshman too. I don't think he was helped out by his offensive coordinator. I think he will be helped out, and he certainly wasn't. Well, he didn't even play last year. But I do think, again, I think. There's not a lot on film to tell you this guy is really good. There just isn't. But he has a chance. This year's the year to do it, right? I mean, he's played whatever he's played. He started 13 games. He's won, I think, 7 of them. Now, there were a couple other ones when he was a freshman that he almost won. But they were just almost, and he wasn't lights out. He wasn't incredible. He wasn't incredible in the spring game in 2018. I thought he was better in 2019 spring game, but still, he hasn't given fans a glimpse of being incredible. But he doesn't have to be incredible.
But that's the thing. Like, where is Florida State at right now to where
I agree.
We're demanding he be Jameis.
But I don't think we are. I'm excited to see the guy. I mean, I am. I don't think he's like a first round NFL talent. And, we went through a stretch there where Florida State had 3 of those dudes in a row. Whether they were overdrafted or not, they were drafted in the first round. This guy isn't that. But I do think he's somebody to cheer for. We'll talk about him a lot over the next month and probably over the next 2 years, honestly. But, I don't understand that either, man. I root for the guy. I think he has a chance to be pretty darn good. I don't think he's great, and I don't think he has to be great. I don't think Baylor had a lot of great quarterbacks, and they still put up a lot of yards and a lot of points. I don't think
exactly.
When he was with Lane Kiffin, he had a great quarterback. I don't know that Houston's quarterback last year was great. James Blackman, I would imagine, is as good as that quarterback at Houston last year. Well, he put up a ton of.
They're a different skill set. That guy was more run first.
Sure, but he still threw for yards. Yeah. And I just think Briles is a guy. And that, to me, is what should get everybody excited. And I talked about this on our last show about what Baber said about him, and I wrote a column about it. But what should get everybody excited about Florida State football in 2019, or not excited, I get that we're all, there's some trepidation, 12-13, I get it, over the last 2 years. But what should have you encouraged, or at least slightly excited, that seems like an oxymoron. But if you're slightly excited about this season, it has to be because of Briles and Clements. And I do think Briles, if James Blackman is his quarterback, is going to figure out a way for that guy to work towards his strengths, to minimize his weaknesses, and to make sure he puts up yards and points, because that's what Briles has always done.
I really can't say it much better. I mean, obviously, my hopeful, my optimism and the good feeling I have about James, because I feel like he is in really good hands with Kendall Browse, because every quarterback that's played for him or his father has put up monster numbers, and I just don't see how, like, what James lacks that they have. I get De'Aaron King, I get Robert Griffin, obviously is on a whole nother stratosphere than anybody else the Browse family's ever coached in terms of overall athleticism and dynamic playmaking ability. But, Seth Russell, Jarrett Stidham, Jason Driscoll, I mean, these guys aren't cut from any sort of, unique cloth that James Blackman isn't made out of. And if this offense is so simple, and if it's all these simple reads, and it is tempo, and it is going fast, and it is getting in rhythm and knowing the right route combinations, like James Blackman, I think, has shown the ability to be able to pick stuff up and make plays happen. And I think so much of maybe his struggles in games early in the season when he played in 2017 was because Jimbo really didn't make things that much easier for him. And I think they got into situations where probably Jimbo had to make things more streamlined or open things up a little bit more and just put things on James's shoulders more instead of making him make all sorts of crazy decisions. Like just, hey, go for a big shot to Auden Tate. Things like that in 2017, and he played really well in those instances where things kind of were made a little bit easier for him. So if this offense is all about being simple and fast, I just don't see any reason why this kid can't make this offense move, especially with the offensive line that should have improvement over what they were last year.
Let's go, buddy. I was going to say, though, I think that this is – I don't think – I guess I think, but I truly believe that this is the most talented wide receiver core that Florida State's had since 2013, and even then, it's deeper than that team was. That team only basically ran out three guys.
But those three guys were pretty.
They were something.
Good.
They were something. And I'm not saying this unit is better than that unit, but I can tell you this: number 15 would have played on that unit.
Yeah,
a good bit. And so you have a guy like him, you have Harrison, you have Helton, you have even Gavin, who, I mean, maybe he's got all the measurables and all the tools, man. Yeah. Maybe there's a chance. I do think there's a chance. Again, he's going to be in Briles' system too. But you got a lot of weapons. You got a lot of toys to play with, man. That Briles, I don't even know if Briles has had anything like this. Plus, you got Akers in Laburn back there too. You've got a lot of you've got some pretty supreme talent at the skill positions. James Blackman doesn't have to go be a hero. You know what I mean? He doesn't have to go 39 out of 55 for 496 yards and throwing a bunch of deep posts. Man, he's got guys all over the field that you really do think can make plays, and they're all a year older. I think DJ Matthews has the chance to have a really nice year. I know what we both think about Helton, and then number 15 could be the best receiver in the conference. So he's got dudes to work with, man. He doesn't have to press because he should have dudes running open if they know what they're doing. And there's no reason to think with their receivers coach, who, again, that's another thing to be excited about. I think that's a step up, a significant step up. With their receivers coach and then the offensive coordinator and the offensive line coach, I think those are realistic reasons to be excited. Now, if they go 5-7 again this year, folks, what are you going to do? We still got basketball to look forward to.
I'm becoming much more bullish on this team as we get closer to it, just because I feel so good about this offense, and I'm blocking out everything about the defense. But I don't know. Maybe this is the best receiving core since 13. I don't know the depth thing. I mean, they got a lot of bodies. I don't know how many of them are really going to actually end up producing. But I guess, like 14? You still had Rashad. I mean, 15. Like Bobo was the best receiver in 15.
It was Bobo and Kermit and Travis Rudolph.
Yeah, 16.
I'm telling you, I went through them all. There's nothing there that's going to make you go, oh wow, Corey forgot about those guys.
Yeah,
Bobo's the fringe NFL player. He was a fine player. The problem with those 15 and 16 receiving core, at least the 15 one for sure, is they were all the same guy.
Yeah,
they were all 5'10" guys that they're slot receivers basically. Now Kermit could fly, and Rudolph was a little bigger, and he was a pretty good college player. But none of them had a Terry or a Warren Thompson or a Keith Gavin. They didn't have any of that size. It's a pretty versatile receiving core. You got dudes that are deep threats that are big.
That's better.
right? They're versatile, but I don't think it's versatility without talent. I think DJ Matthews is a good college football player and will prove to be and I think Keyshawn Helton has a chance to be better than we even think he can be.
What are you talking about? I put him top 5, Corey. Come on, man.
Well, yeah, that's right. Sorry, I say we. It was the royal we.
Yeah.
People besides you. Yeah. So I just think there's some serious talent that he gets to throw to for real, and I'm looking forward to see how if he wins the job again. I don't think that was one of the things in the one of the questions in the roundtable that we did was, is it going to be a legitimate QB competition? And we all know what I think about Blackman and kind of to a lesser extent what I think about Hornibrook. I just think Blackman's a better quarterback. But yes, I also think it's going to be a legit battle. Briles is not beholden to James Blackman. In fact, as I pointed out here before, he recruited Hornibrook a lot more than he did James Blackman. So, whoever's the best quarterback in his system the next 4 weeks is the guy that's going to win the job. I just think it's going to be Blackman. But whoever the quarterback is, he's going to have some serious weapons to throw to, man. I really do think that. I think the Harrison kid has a chance to be good. He showed a little spark, very little, because who did show spark? But he showed some spark, and I think the tight ends are talented. Basically, I'm saying this might be the most talented Florida State offense in school history. So just throwing that out there. Prove me right, kids. Prove me right.
Keep it rolling, man. Yeah, so that's where I'm at right now. Obviously, as practice gets closer and as practice starts, we'll make more observations about things of that nature. But, yeah, it just, I can't imagine Kendall Briles is going to have too many bad Saturdays. He's not going to have 7 bad Saturdays, Let's be honest.
You know what the beauty of this season is they're all Saturdays. Not a single weeknight game.
We didn't have a weeknight game last year, did we?
Hey, man, when did they play Virginia Tech, Aslan? Come on.
Oh, Monday, that's right.
Come on, buddy. Come on, man. They're all Saturdays. How awesome is that?
I blocked that one out.
Yes, I did too, buddy.
Everyone talks about what if they would have challenged Nooney, the touchdown. It should have been a touchdown. It wasn't. They go hurry up, false start, Landon Dickerson, and everything kind of falls apart from there. I've mentioned it before, like Ole Miss, 2011 had a horrible season. They went 2-10. They were in it in their home opener, and then they stopped BYU. Then they went 3 and out, and they punted, and then I think they made BYU punt. But in the first quarter, they muffed a punt, and then everything went downhill for them. Now, obviously, they were not a talented team. Houston Nutt was not a very good coach any longer. But if that play didn't happen, they probably would have gone up 2 scores on BYU, and it would all been fine. And they would have a romp win in their opener at home. The Nooney play happens, and if that was a touchdown, who knows what could have been different. But what we never talk about, and I don't want to talk about it because even though I'm mentioning it, but what if James Blackman would have started against Virginia Tech? That game was close the entire way. And I know the O-line played bad, and I know they turned over the ball a bunch. What if he makes a throw to Terry? What if he makes a throw to Terry in the first quarter of that game, first half of that game, and gets Florida State on the board? What if he comes out in the second half and throws a deep post to Tamorrion Terry, and Florida State gets on the board really quick in the second half? Defense gets a stop. He's too dismissed in the equation of what went wrong in 2018. And I think we'll find that out early this season of just how good he is. And we won't talk too much about, they should have started him in 2018 because we've put that out of our memories, most folks. But yeah, they're upgrading at that position. It's the most important position on the field. They're upgrading there. They've upgraded the play calling position, the offensive line coaching position. Ira told me this, part of what he told a booster group is, man, it is hard to argue against saying that Florida State didn't go from, I don't know, let's be kind and say a D when it came to coaching on the offensive side of the ball, whether it's offensive line coaching, play calling, receivers, and it's hard to say they're not at least at a B now with all the guys they have. So that's got to equal more wins. We'll find out sooner rather than later. Corey, there was something else I wanted to ask you, but obviously probably is not that important because I forgot. But hurry back to Tallahassee. Let's go get these sensations. I want the sandwich. You try this out.
Oh, man, it's happening. 100% it's happening. And also, real quick, because you got to get to you're going to talk to Langston about Saturday Night Live and all the good news that came that way from that event. So did you watch, again, folks, fast forward if you don't want to hear this. It's only going to be like 90 seconds. Did you watch Last Chance U?
I've watched 3 episodes. I'm trying to space them out so I have something to enjoy, but I'll binge them if you want, and then we can talk. Well, actually, I won't binge it because we're not going to do a show until next Monday.
No, I don't care. I was just but Malik makes a comeback.
Is a spoiler? It sounds like. I know. Well, I know where he ends up going somewhere after.
No, I'm not. I'm saying like he comes back to the show.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, in the first episode, like, they brought him back, which is really bizarre. Like he left and then comes back.
Really bizarre. And then I don't know if you've gotten there yet, but he ends up starting a game or playing a game or something.
No, I haven't gotten there
or
yet.
a couple games. Yeah. So does that keep the streak alive?
Of course. Yeah.
So now it's been all 4 Last Chance U seasons have had a Florida State quarterback in it. We both thought the streak was dead. I didn't realize that he went back there. I guess I didn't remember that he went, or I thought that he went there, but he redshirted or didn't play, but he actually played in some games. So now the streak is still alive.
Yeah,
that's 4 in a row that a former Florida State quarterback has been on Last Chance U.
Jimbo Fisher, everybody. All right, say what you will. Developer of talent, quarterback.
Sure, man.
Whisperer.
Netflix loves Jimbo Fisher.
You know, this is what kills me about it is that every year, like in early September, somebody I know will retweet something that mentions, the team that's being featured on Last Chance U this season just lost, blah, 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 blah. So it's like, and as great as the show is, there's absolutely no reason why it should take 8 months to produce it. Like it's so.
I really do think it's. Probably no. It definitely shouldn't. You would think they have like the first couple episodes done by February?
I mean, dude, freaking.
They're editing as they would go, as they go. You would think.
I mean, Hard Knocks, obviously, which is a much larger scale production, but like, dude, Hard Knocks is doing things the week of. But I guess obviously they do this sort of because it is the summer and it gets people ready for football season.
I was going to say it's like the last week before football season starts, but it's also what I realized as I watched it is it is just rinse and repeat. It is the same stories. It's different kids, but it's the same stories. Like there's a kid this year that's pretty darn likable, but you also want to just punt him through things because he doesn't. It's like, man, get your act together and care. Just care enough about your academics to bring your glasses to class.
Right.
So you can see the board. Like the first season, the kid that would never bring his pencil. Yeah. He never had anything to write with. And then this kid won't bring his glasses. And they just put it off and don't care about it. It's like, man, it's just, it's being young. It's being immature. Quite frankly, they're in JUCO for a reason. But you just want it to click. You just wanted to click with some of these guys, and it just doesn't seem like it ever will. So it gets to be very, very frustrating. Like, man, please care about yourself. Just try to care about yourself.
There was 2 things I saw last week that made me a little bit apprehensive about the man I've become. Just like I had no empathy. And I like to think that I'm a very empathetic person. I'm very self-aware. I'm very considerate. I really like to see and understand what people are going through and have a good sort of way of grasping it without being presumptuous or being, patronization or being a patronist about it. But they spent 20 minutes trying to make me feel bad about Bobby Bruce. And I kind of like, I don't feel bad for him. Am I a bad human being?
At all.
But then I saw the Mr. Rogers trailer on Twitter with Tom Hanks, and it got me a little bit emotional. So I'm like, okay, I'm good. I still have a heart. But I don't feel bad for Bobby Bruce, and they need to stop trying to make people feel bad for the Bobby Bruces of the world. But like you say, it's the
100%.
same.
Well,
it's the same storyline stuff.
Yeah, that Bobby Bruce specifically, the Bobby Bruce is like, man, you keep doing it yourself, dude. Yeah. You can't even hack it at JUCO. Like, and they give you 1,000 chances at JUCO, man. So no, I don't feel sorry for that kid at all. And obviously, there's more to his story that you'll see as you watch. But yeah, it's that kind of stuff. It's like, man. Why would you do that? What are you doing? What are you thinking, man? This is your last shot. But again, it's I guess that's the appeal of the show, and also kind of a bit of the tragedy of the show is some kids just don't get it. Even when they get their 3rd or 4th chance, they don't get it. And quite frankly, Malik Henry's one of those kids. We'll see how he does in Nevada. But I certainly, we've watched enough of him and seen enough of his career to think that if he sticks at Nevada and actually plays well and becomes a good player and a good teammate, that would be a huge upset. Yeah. But hey, by the way, right before we go, I saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Okay, the latest Quentin Tarantino film starring Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio, I think.
Yeah, and Margot Robbie. And do you know you need to go see it? I think it's I was thinking about it. It might be my favorite Tarantino movie.
I'm not a big Tarantino guy though.
Oh, okay. Well, again, it's not a typical Tarantino movie.
Okay.
It's weird that you say you're not a big.
I'm not
Tarantino
a movie.
guy.
I'm just not a movie guy. Period. Like Pulp Fiction, I think is overrated.
Do you know anything about the Manson murders?
I mean, not really. I mean, I know he started a cult and had like a really wasn't some heiress, like some really rich lady. He for like I don't know, Shelley something. Was that her name? One of the women one of the women that was part of his cult that helped him kill people. I don't know. Maybe I didn't know that part. No, I thought like there was one person in his cult that came from like a really good family. Like,
are you thinking of Patty Hearst?
Maybe I am thinking of Patty.
Who went and robbed banks with the Seminese Liberation Army? She was kind of kidnapped and then became a hostage, then became a part of the revolution that was Patty Hearst, but that wasn't Manson. There's a lot of weird stuff that happened in that time frame in our country's history. But no, what I was going to say is the people that are listening to this that were thinking about watching it, it's really good, and DiCaprio is awesome in it. They're all awesome in it. But if you don't know much about the Manson murders, read up on them a little bit. Just do a Wikipedia glance so you know a little bit, because it kind of centers around those. It's the least gory Tarantino movie of all time. But for the movie to really work, to resonate like it did with me, I feel like you need to know who Sharon Tate was.
Oh, geez,
you need to know where she lived, and then Polanski, and then you need to know like how that night went down. And if you know that and who Charles Manson was and where those crazy folks lived, the movie will resonate even more. But I liked it a lot. It was one of my favorite Tarantino movies. Big thumbs up from old Sea Dog.
Yeah, I for some reason thought that Sharon Tate was one of the perpetrators because she's a...
See, so go to Wikipedia, man. Learn up, bone up, but go see the movie. It's a good one, I'm telling you.
We need to talk about Chernobyl at some point, too. I finally watched that. We'll talk about that next time when we come back.
Next time, buddy.
WarChant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. WarChant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WarChant30. That's WarChant30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WarChant30. WarChant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.